Hello, Rigo. This is the second day of the Olympic regatta. And, again, you have a good reason to be happy, I think. Line's performance have really been marvelous, and she's now leading the Olympic regatta with 40% sailed. What are your comments?
Very happy Line, very happy team, and very happy sport director. This morning, the weather situation proved to be extremely difficult. I think not one of the models that we had sort of add up with the situation that we actually were getting. So all the coaches and the meteorologists were saying, okay, listen, we just have to sort of be open, be clear that we try to see as good outside of the boat as we can. Don't try any weird things, just trust your instincts and look at what's happening around you. Line was able to get in a really good mode, also because of the help of Endre and all the other people in our team giving her a very good boost and confidence, and that made it work.
Yeah, she sailed very well. I watched the first race on television, and she came sort of out of the blue on the first windward leg, and then she was, either second or first for the rest of the race. And she seemed to be sailing with great confidence, and she looked relaxed and in a good mood, obviously, when she finished the race. But then even better, I suppose, was the follow-up. I haven't seen that race, but with the third position in race number 4. So she's, I wouldn't say it's comfortable, but she's in the lead before the Greek girl, and with Anne-Marie Rindom, who is of course a great competitor from Denmark, but 7 points back, and Baumeister, who's maybe even more of a favorite, in 5th place now. And I've looked at Line's results in the last World Championship in 2020 to see her scores throughout the series, to see if we could find something that indicates that she is good or worse under pressure. And it seems that she managed the pressure very well in that regatta. She started a bit like this series with 19th, where she was 20th here. And then she had 2 pretty good results, not as good as here. Then she had a couple of mediocre races before she finished off very strongly. And of course she came 3rd and won the bronze medal behind Baumeister. So I think she looks good, and I hope that she will keep the confidence and that she's in the right frame of mind now to keep on the good sailing. It's always an advantage to lead the regatta, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends a lot on how experienced the sailor is. It's always a difference if you have to, let's say, coach and try to help a sailor like Marit Baumeister, who's done already like I don't know how many medals, or a girl like Line, who is basically had one big good result and still needs to keep on becoming a frequent medalist. Sometimes that step is really, really difficult, because one good result in the wrong frame of mind can lead to a lot of pressure. But I think both Lars Lunningen, her coach, and also the rest of the team have been sharing quite a lot of their experiences, and Line has proven that in the short time that she's actually in this Olympic circus, because 4 years is basically a short time in an Olympic circus, that she has a tremendous potential of developing as a person and also as a sailor in a short time. So I'm really hopeful and positive that she eyes us all.
Well, it's too early to make great conclusions and to start celebrations, obviously, but it looks good. We can conclude with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to Herman, I guess things were a little disappointing after the excellent start with the third. I watched his racing, and the margins are very small. You know, it doesn't take much to be number 2 or number 15. You know, they're small things.
Yeah, that is absolutely the key. It went in principle during that first race. It went actually quite well until, let's say, the last bit of the first upwind. He sort of like missed a couple of small moments, and in a class like the laser, you get immediately punished by that. That is the tough thing, but at the same time the challenging thing about the laser class. There are so many really good sailors, well prepared, so that every little mistake will be punished. And I think all in all, this doesn't mean that it's disappointing. It's always people think that, okay, once you have a third, you're immediately obliged to do the same thing. But the thing is that in soccer they say the ball is round. In sailors say if the wind changes, you cannot control it. You just have to sort of like step on everything of it, and it's only so much you can control. So with where Herman is now, still the whole ball game is open. The points are very close.
Yeah,
they're going to race again tomorrow. So I'm absolutely positive on where we are now and where he can still go.
Right. Well, I see it's only 9 points up to the third place here. So it's, as you say, the margins are very small, not only in the sailing, but also in the points. So we'll keep up the good spirits for sure. I look forward to seeing sailing from him tomorrow. Then tell me about Endre, because he's ended the last race with a second, and I suppose this is what was in dispute. Is that it?
Well, the dispute has been settled by now. Basically, what happened was that in the third race of today, he had a small incident with the Chinese, and the Chinese decided to protest. He was very upset. Afterwards, so after that incident, the two met again, and apparently the Chinese sailor was the windward boat, and he didn't keep free for that for N. So there were two protests. One was the incident of starting, where it basically turned out that Endre wasn't able to keep clear from the Chinese, and had to sort of like give him two pats on the shoulder with his boom. Something that happens quite a lot in the starting situations that the RS6 men have. But yes, it's in the rules. It's written that you have to stay clear from a leeward boat, and Endre didn't. So he was guilty. The interesting part during the protest that was interesting for me, and actually also for the whole team, is that there was quite a bit of footage, and that's an understatement. There was a lot of footage on that incident that was shown in the protest room, and this is actually a game changer for the way normal protesting can be done. Most of the time when we practice how to do a protest, it's about how you present the case and how you establish with the right ways of questioning who is able to sort of present his key fact. I had a Polish boy to the windward, therefore I could not stay free. With so much footage on it, and actually turned out that it was clear that Endre did make a mistake, and he couldn't keep clear from the Chinese boy, and that led to the protest. So that was a very clear situation, major, not so much because those guys were protesting that well, but because there was so much footage basically making it clear that Endre made a mistake. So that's a definite game changer. Afterwards, we had another protest also against the Chinese, where the Chinese came from above and crashed into Endre. Also there, it turned out there was quite a bit of evidence, tracking evidence in this case, and a poor performance of that Chinese guy. So he got protested as well. And that may sound a little bit like a kid's fight. The tiny little detail that I wanted to tell, of course, at the end, was that straight after racing, we went to the Chinese surfer and we went to his coach and tried to say, okay, guys, listen, we made a mistake first. Afterwards, you made a mistake to us. Let's settle this together as the gentleman's sport and the core rules of sailing actually are. Let's settle this as gentlemen and say, okay, I owe you one or you owe me one, whatever, but we're going to keep it out of the protest room. They absolutely didn't want to. They felt that they had a case and they felt they needed to get the protest. So we said, okay, now we have to protest as well. So both of them got protested, but both of them basically could have sorted this in good understanding with each other. And there you see a difference in culture. I absolutely believe that this Chinese kid is a good kid, but he's just raised in a culture where it's fighting, it's being tough, it's about not being a softie or whatever you want to call it. And he was thinking that he could win this. And he could have won it. He could have gone out because he had a seventh in the same race where Endre had a second. So I think it's a win that we gained so much experience, especially for Endre. And I also have to say that what I've learned from the way Olympic protesting goes with so much footage, the whole team can learn from this, and it's definitely something that we're going to have to share with the rest of the teams and coaches, and even our coach, a racing rules advisor that we also have in our system, that will help us perform somewhere better in protesting in the future and also in racing.
Very interesting. What you are suggesting is that since both made a mistake, they should shake hands and say, okay, we both made a mistake, and that's equal.
Well, then that's the core of the game, man. I mean, yeah. Sailing is basically a situation where the sailors with each other should try to settle their arguments, their interpretation of a situation. Only if they are not able to do that, that's when you go to a jury. That's a completely different principle. Like if you would have a judge or a jury or whatever doing direct judging, or as it's done with soccer or with football, where you have a guy constantly policing you. And we as Norwegians and most experienced Western sailors know that it's probably the best to stay out of the protest room because it can go wrong. And in the perspective of this Chinese guy, it absolutely went wrong, and in our way as well.
Well, this is how it is. I see that both guys were disqualified. Endre is still in 14th place, and everything is not lost for him. So he's actually done quite well, I think, in this regatta so far, if you look at the expectations.
Well, absolutely. And let's not forget, apart from those two situations, one of them where he may have made a small mistake, or where he basically made a small mistake, he still got in a second. And the way that he got his second actually led to quite a bit of positive comments from the rest of the windsurfing community, because he showed really good overview while not going slow or while actually going fast.
Yeah.
And he was leading around the last windward mark, and he was basically just missing the windward gate. Otherwise, he would have brought it home as a first. So his sailing is still developing enormously fast during these regattas, and that was the main thing why we brought him to the Olympics, to keep on getting experience so he can prepare himself better for Paris 2024.
Right. Well, that is how it is. Tomorrow is another day for everybody, and we will have two new classes with Norwegian teams. It's going to be the Finn, and it's going to be also the 49er FX with, I would say, the other Norwegian favorites in this regatta, Helene Næss and Marie Rønningen. And of course, we are excited to see what Anders can perform in the Finn. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a new day, and something to look out for, eh?
Right. Well, we'll get up early in the morning and watch and have our comments in the morning as well, and then hopefully we'll be able to speak to you at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon if you are not going to any more protest meetings or disturbances. And we'll hope that's not going to happen.
Yes, sir. Nice talking to you, Mikkel.
Same to you. Good night, Rigo.
Take care. Have a good one.